Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 669th edition of the Feuerstein's Fire American Soccer Show. I'm your host, Daniel Feuerstein. I'll give you American perspective of our clubs, leagues, players, national team, and other fabulous moments. Get your daily reading from me and other writers over at Beyond the 90, at beyondthe90.substack.com, and locally on New York Soccer through baddogsports.com. And hopefully we'll soon rejoin AJM sportsfc.com once I finally end my assistance for Mr. JJ Pavlik's site. The chat room on YouTube is open. Come on in, discuss amongst yourselves if you want. You have any questions for me, I'll try to answer to the best of my abilities. And, ladies and gentlemen, as we sit here watching this 2025 MLS season, something is amiss. Something is really strange if you think about it. And I can only say this. And the strange part that we're all going to talk about for now, and of course we'll lead into it when my first guest comes over, is the Lionel Messi situation and Inter Miami. Well, you have the greatest player in the world here in the United States playing down with Inter Miami in South Florida. Pardon me. And you have him with his friends, not just his friends, on the pitch, playing with him and attempting to get results and victories and, of course, trying to win championships. But you also have a friend of his as the manager in Javier Mascherano. And as I sit here thinking to myself, what in the world is going on at Chase Stadium and when Miami is on the road? How is this possible? How is it that this club of global superstars like Lionel Messi, like Luis Suarez, like Busquets, and so on and so on, but at the same time mix in with several players that Messi knows from Argentina to come play for him at Inter Miami? What are we seeing now? What are we seeing that is now making us question, was this the right move for Miami to bring in this man? Now, look, without a doubt, Messi's name alone and his presence on the pitch in Miami and across the league in MLS, without a doubt, brings the giant star power that we all know and want here in MLS. That's for sure. And, the great players that have played here in world football. Of course, when the league got started with Carlos Valderrama, with Roberto Donadoni, Marco Echeverri, Jorge Campos, and so on and so on. And then, of course, the next step was developing American stars like Landon Donovan, like Clint Mathis, continuing on with the old guard from the 94 World Cup and 98 World Cup, like Kobe Jones, like Tony Meola, like John Harkes, Alexei Lalas, and so on and so on. But now we're seeing these wonderful players. They're joining Los Angeles Galaxy, Los Angeles FC, New York Red Bulls, and of course, Inter Miami now trying to be a destination. And all I can say is this. How is it these players that are a part of so many La Liga titles, so many Copa del Rey titles, so many UEFA Champions League winners, winning winners medals, Um, and also at the same time, you know, Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets winning a World Cup for Spain, and then of course Lionel Messi finally winning the World Cup for Argentina, breaking off the Diego Maradona monkey off his back. All I can say is this: we all knew he was getting older. We all knew these players are getting older. And Luis Suarez is basically running on one leg. And right now, that doesn't look like that's going to be enough. And something I never thought I'd see with a Messi led club. They were in the top four in the Eastern Conference with the drubbing they got in Minnesota, losing 4-1. And then coming this past Sunday night, they lose to their in-state rivals in Orlando City 3-0 down at Chase Stadium in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. They were in the top four. Now they're in sixth place. This is a club that was, or it seemed to be destined to win the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And they get eliminated by the Vancouver Whitecaps in two legs, 2-0 in BC Place in Vancouver, British Columbia, and then cutting the aggregate in half after the opening 45, 2-1 deficit. And then they get blitzed with 3 goals in the second half by the Whitecaps, and they lose it on aggregate 5-1, 3-1 in the second leg, 3 away goals, killed them off. And now it looks like they're going to be sinking further and further in the Eastern Conference. 22 points out of 13 matches. And what can you say? Well, I mean, I don't know what you can say. I mean, they're still going to draw down at Chase Stadium. They're still going to draw on the road because everyone wants to see the GOAT play. Everybody wants to see him play, and he will oblige whether he's going to be fit or not. And I'll admit, I think the hard foul he suffered in the Copa America final, which you saw his ankle balloon like a cannonball, like maybe a bowling ball. Many signaled maybe that was the start of the end. Now, I don't know. But the truth is that he is getting up there in age, and very soon the bottom was about to start dropping. This isn't a drop. This is the express elevator going straight to the basement. And the only way to fix it is to somehow change up the tactics if possible. Maybe he shouldn't be playing multiple matches in multiple months. Now, don't forget, even though they're going to have an international window break for this upcoming beginning of June, and I don't know if Messi's going to get called into Argentina during the June World Cup qualifiers and CONMEBOL, because the truth of the matter is this: Messi, and should not so much Messi, but Argentina has already qualified for the World Cup. Even though they are defending World Cup champions, they did qualify for the World Cup here in North America. So that's the big question mark, isn't it? That is the gigantic question mark we are having. Is this it? Is this the last hurrah of Lionel Messi? Will he stay here so that Inter Miami can finally finish constructing their brand new stadium near the international airport in Miami, just across the street from the last train station where Amtrak terminates and joins with Tri-Rail. Because I'll tell you this right now, even though the club should be celebrating a brand new stadium, if he does say he's done, if he does say I quit, if he does say it's over, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't halt construction. You've put in the money already, the Moss brothers and David Beckham. But the big question is this: regardless of Javier Mascherano being friends, buddies with Lionel Messi, is he the right man to do the job to manage Inter Miami into a playoff run? I thought short tournament, going for a goal aggregate, I thought he was the one, but it looks like he got outsmarted by Jesper Sorensen. Obviously, Leagues Cup is coming up next. I don't see them winning that chocolate trophy wrapped in Saran wrap or Reynolds wrap. Pardon me. And let me just say this, I do feel bad for Messi. I really do feel bad for him. I do. Because out of all of the footballers that I've watched, whether they're from the Premier League, from Serie A, the Bundesliga, La Liga, Liga MX, I've been able to watch some Canadian Premier League matches, obviously MLS, USL, whatever league it is. The Dutch Eredivisie, Ligue 1 in France, anywhere in the world, whether it's in Europe, South America. Hell, I'll even watch J League in Japan if it's going to be on my TV screen without having a subscription for it, because I love the game so much, just like you love the game. I don't know how much more he has left. I really don't. But I wouldn't be shocked if he called it quits at the end of this season, if he feels that he's done and he'll stay in Miami for the rest of his life and just retire. Watch his kids play. Watch his kids become part of the Inter Miami Youth Academy, and just move forward from there. Look, Messi has nothing left to prove, to be honest with you. He has nothing left to prove. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to keep going and be a part of Argentina's World Cup run and defending their World Cup title next summer. And don't forget as well, the FIFA Club World Cup will be coming here very shortly next month, along with the CONCACAF Gold Cup. So he will be playing for Inter Miami, as well as the Seattle Sounders will. And we'll see what happens, of course, if the LAFC does win that playoff to take over the spot that was forced by FIFA to remove Club Leon of Mexico due to the fact of multiple club ownership. So we'll have to wait and see. But, this is what it is. This is how it is. And you just hope for a good run from them. And if not, then what are you going to do? There's nothing else you can do. We'll have to wait and see what the situation will be. And from that point on, we'll just have to wait and watch what's going to happen here. But until then, he's still going to play this season, which I expect him to. I don't know if we'll ever get a press conference. We might not. Maybe what he'll do is maybe he'll retire at the end of this year and leave Miami, go back to Barcelona, sign probably a one-day contract, and probably retire as a Barcelona player. Because even though Messi, if he did go back to Barcelona, I just don't think he's got enough. But without a doubt, Messi is a big name. Messi is a big name. He will always be synonymous with the other big-named world stars like Pele, like Maradona, like Thierry Henry, David Beckham, and all I can say is we'll see what happens. We'll see what's going to happen. We'll see what they're going to do. But you know, we'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see what's going to be the situation, and that's all you can really say and do. So we'll wait for that announcement to happen, and hopefully it's the right decision by Lionel Messi. Ladies and gentlemen, got a great show for you tonight. My first guest tonight covers the San Jose Earthquakes for SBI Soccer. Of course, that's my buddy Ives Gallersep, Soccer by Ives. And of course, he's done a great job covering the sport domestically and internationally as well. My good friend Favian Renkel joining me tonight. Favian, welcome to the brand new edition of the Four Scenes Fire American Soccer Show. It's been a while since we've seen each other down in Miami, about 2 years ago, I think it was, at the MLS
Media Day.
Media Day. Yep. So how are you and how's your family?
Oh, we're doing great. Thank you for asking. And hey, look at this. This is new, right? We used to call in, and now we moved to StreamYard, right? So it's interesting. But yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me on. It's been 2 years now. Time flies.
Yes, it has. But of course, we're no stranger to each other, and that's always a great thing. You know, I have to tell you, when you posted your videos of, I'm assuming, local CBS, and I would also assume NBC or ABC affiliates in San Jose, San Francisco Bay Area. Wow. To see downtown San Jose filling up at the street at Inter Miami's hotel. I'm assuming that's the visiting hotel for all the MLS clubs that plays the Earthquakes at PayPal Park. I have to admit, and if I'm going too far, you can tell me. This had a Michael Jackson-esque feel to it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, 100%. There was memes even made about Michael Jackson on the balcony and Lionel Messi on the balcony. So it's actually pretty funny to hear you say that, because I was thinking the same thing. It's really odd to me that Messi went out on the balcony and waved. And that's something that we never really see from him, or at least it hasn't really been reported on too much. It almost felt like this time when Messi was in San Jose, he kind of gave into the media a little bit. He gave into the Messi mania, for example, and went onto his balcony and started to wave at the fans. And honestly, yeah, he probably gets a lot of fanfare in Minnesota or wherever he goes. But this was another level to me. This was something that I haven't seen Miami got this type of love from another team or another area in a long time. And I have some reasons for that. But yeah, we can get into that later.
No, absolutely. I mean, look, I have to admit, we we know how popular he is around the world. We know his face, his name, his actions on the pitch. We all know what he can do, the competitor that he is, but he even recognizes the level of fandom that he has to deal with every single time he plays, whether he was in La Liga with Barcelona, French League On with PSG, now here in MLS. And even I'll admit, I was at Chase Stadium when the Red Bulls played Inter Miami. And even though Miami had the match won, well in hand, I finally saw it live in front of me, not on TV, not a video, not a highlight. I finally saw a fan running on the pitch, beeline for Messi, got the hug. There was security ready to pry him off. He's like, nope. I'll take the picture. I'll do this. And I mean, I feel bad for him. I do. I really feel bad for him because, you're there to perform a simple task, as that is be a professional footballer. And sometimes I feel like, he can't do that.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's tough to be that type of famous, right? I mean, we're talking about the biggest athlete in the world in terms of just Instagram following, in terms of I would say even product push. Moss by Messi is on every shelf in every grocery store now. He's becoming an entity, right? I mean, he already is Messi. He already is larger than the sport. But even now, it feels like there's even a museum about him, right? So this guy, again, is a different level of fame when it comes to talking about athletes, and he has to go through every single day understanding that every single action he does, even if he gets mad, gets, under a microscope and looked at by everybody. Even him saying he has nothing to say about a contract gets a flurry of tweets from all the reporters in the United States. So it is interesting to see at least that he has such a hard time being Messi. But when he was in San Jose, it seems like he was on top of the world, literally, waving from his balcony.
I know, it's just crazy. And I'll tell you this too: if you ever come back down here, I'll take you to a supermarket. They're selling um, Messi coffee, or I'm assuming it's Messi mate flakes or whatever mate is made down in South America and Argentina. But I'll tell you, it was a pink coffee bag with
Wow.
the MLS number 10 on it, and it had his name on top of the number 10 as well. So Messi coffee or Messi mate. It's just crazy stuff what they'll do just to sell his name.
Yeah, no, and rightfully so. I mean, if you have Messi, you should advertise him to the max, right? And some people are getting a little tired of the Messi mania. I would say only real true diehards of MLS are getting MLS, or excuse me, Messi mania kind of overload. But if you're a fan that's casually liking soccer in the United States and you have the opportunity to see Messi in your hometown, you're gonna take it, and you're gonna possibly not know about all the reporters that are always talking about Messi, or all the tweets that are constantly talking about him, or all the fan pages that are constantly talking about him. And you're just going to be excited to see one of the best to ever play the game in your hometown. So, yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Just to go back to the Messi mania in San Jose, when the mayor of San Jose talked about uh, this whole situation, what did he say? What, was he amazed to see all that happen, or he just like, look, I'm not surprised. The World Cup's coming next summer to the U.S. Obviously at Levi Stadium. What was the mayor's reaction to all this?
Yeah, like the mayor took the opportunity to truly kind of showcase the Bay Area or San Jose, excuse me, for a true kind of stomping grounds for the World Cup coming up. They're not going to get a Club World Cup game, so that's a missed opportunity for to be kind of the dress rehearsal for the World Cup. But for the World Cup stage, San Jose is excited to kind of bring on all the fans and all the people from out of town that are going to come. I remember Colombia played here during the Copa America, and it was a sea of yellow. I mean, Colombians came in bunches to watch their national team play here, and basically San Jose is going to have to be ready to house all these people, or at least for the time being, for the tournament, and be ready to have their transportation in line and everything ready. So Levi Stadium, the home of the 49ers, technically isn't in San Jose, but it's in Santa Clara, which is very close to San Jose. And it's basically on the border of San Jose. But yeah, I mean, the city's ready. The mayor had a lot to say about this game and how massive it was for the city, because it truly was showing, this city does like soccer. And if it's not for the Quakes, it's definitely going to be for the World Cup.
That's very true. Obviously, Bruce Arena is the head coach for the Earthquakes. I don't have to tell you. I know, I know Bruce Arena is basically God of head coaches in MLS and American soccer history, both as a club coach and the national team head coach. Um, it was a 3-3 match, and I thought the Earthquakes were going to take it, but Miami came back. What did you think about the match in itself, and of course the irritable Messi going after referee Joe Dickerson? I'm assuming all match long and after the final whistle.
Yeah, look, it was a great match. Earthquakes fans truly got a treat because they saw 2 goals within the first 2 minutes, right? So it was a great matchup. The Earthquakes flying high with all their starters out there. But halfway through the game, Chicho Arango goes down with the hamstring. It's probably looking about 3 to 4 weeks for him to come back to the lineup. But besides that, it was a spectacle. I mean, it was a back and forth match. Barely any defense played because it was ended up 3-3, and it was a back and forth, tons of offensive opportunities to try to score, But the only person that really didn't shine in that match was Lionel Messi. And at the end of the game, showed his frustrations against the referee. There possibly was a call or two that should have gone Messi's way, and it didn't go his way. And while Inter Miami and the Herons are completely frustrated at the lack success they've had so far in the MLS season, it was it was on full display in front of the San Jose crowd that was halfway cheering on for Messi and halfway cheering on the Quakes.
Yep, absolutely. And I thought he was going to get. Was he booked in this match at all, Messi? I don't think.
He was booked at the end of the match with a
Wow.
yellow, and Bruce Arena was quoted after the game saying, I made sure Messi didn't get a red because it was something that definitely could have happened.
That's the one thing that many people were so shocked. Here comes Bruce Arena saving Messi from getting a second yellow card into red. People are going, how is that possible? What is Bruce doing that for? But the thing is, the final whistle blew. The game was over. And, you're no longer competing against each other. So it's better. And I think, honestly, Bruce did the right thing.
Right.
He did the right thing. He saved Messi from himself. And he made sure that he did not get suspended for the next match.
Yeah, and look, and after this match versus Orlando City, he actually got another yellow. So I would be shocked. And then on Apple TV, Messi went on and said that the refereeing should be taken. MLS should take a look at the refereeing. So I'm going to be shocked if there's no sort of fine that gets announced for Messi, because in reality, if this was any other player, they would have been fined a pretty hefty sum. So I'm just waiting for MLS to send out that email saying that Messi got fined for his words after the match versus Orlando City. And let's see if Messi gets held to the same standard as all of the other players. And let's see if MLS will, try to slap the wrist of their most profitable asset, right?
Listen, they have no choice. Messi went against the referee. You've got to be. I mean, if he would have done that in La Liga, that they wouldn't hesitate. They would look. We know you're a superstar, but we're going to have to fine you,
right?
And he would have to pay it no matter what.
And look, this is all in the middle of him resigning. It's in the middle of these contract talks that he's having with Inter Miami, and I don't know. We'll see if he resigns. But hey, maybe they don't want to slap a fine on him because maybe it's going to sway him in a certain way to resign or not, right? So it is interesting. It's such an interesting kind of aspect of this, because then you have Apple TV, right? Apple's going to want you to not to fine him because they want to keep him at all costs, right? So no, it is interesting. It is interesting. And I kind of wanted to add about the Messi Mania in San Jose. I asked Tadeo Allende, with a player who scored 2 goals in San Jose, about Messi and what he thought about the fanfare in San Jose. And he said this. He said that basically Messi gets this everywhere he goes. So it didn't feel like anything was different. But I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit why everybody else kind of thought that this fanfare was a bit more than what he usually gets in other cities. And to be honest, everybody that, the landscape of California and the landscape of the Bay Area has changed drastically in the last 20 years, where a lot of the, population has been gentrified out, or a lot of the population has, moved out to either the Sacramento area or to Texas or to Arizona, where you don't really have those diehard Quakes fans in the area anymore that grew up watching the team at Spartan Stadium or grew up watching the team at Buckshaw, because they might not be in the area anymore. The biggest away fans section I've ever seen for the Earthquakes was actually at the Sacramento Republic, where it seemed like the Ultras, the San Jose Ultras, had more fans there than they usually do at the stadium, right? So entail that basically allows a lot of, soccer fans to come watch Quakes games now, but they're not used to being Quakes fans. So a lot of the new fans that came to see that Messi game are a lot of those tech kind of employees that come from all parts of the world. And what's one thing that they all know from all parts of the world is Lionel Messi. So you're gonna get these kind of hordes of people seeing Messi in San Jose, because a lot of the population now isn't what it used to be 20 years ago. It's a lot of tech, people that have moved into the area, possibly from Asia, possibly from Southeast Asia. And Messi's a god over there, right? So you're going to get that sort of fanfare that you would see Inter Miami get in the Asias, or David Beckham with the LA Galaxy in the Asias, because that's the type of fandom that you see around over there. So that's the one takeaway I've had with Messi coming to San Jose, is that this fan base, or this soccer fan base, is completely different than it was 10 to 20 years ago. And the Quakes have a steep hill to go up against to get those fans to, come watch Colorado versus San Jose on a Wednesday, right?
Mhm. Yep, absolutely. And don't forget, actually, you've got Open Cup this Tuesday against the Timbers.
Exactly. And as everybody knows, the Open Cup's a tough sell for any non-American soccer fan, right? Because they don't know about the history of the cup, and they don't know about how important this cup is to all the pyramids that make U.S. soccer. But yeah, it is a tough sell for the non-American soccer fan. But that hopefully the Quakes get a good showing versus the Portland Timbers, because it will be a good match, even
Yep.
if it's not without or with Chicho Arango.
No, exactly. And hopefully it'll be a good one. And once again, if you're going to watch San Jose Earthquakes against the Portland Timbers at PayPal Park, it will be live on CBS Sports Network and, of course, streaming live on Paramount Plus. So go ahead and check your local television channels to see what channel CBS Sports Network is on your TVs. If not, just go online to ParamountPlus.com and check it out either on their website or on their app. Favian, thank you very much as always for being on my show. Welcome back to the brand new format here on StreamYard, and I appreciate your time as always. I'll talk to you again soon, and have a good night, my friend.
Take care. Thank you.
All right, Favian Renkel of SBI Soccer, covering the San Jose Earthquakes and everywhere else in the Bay Area of soccer in California. My next guest, of course, he's my good friend over in Denver, covering the Colorado Rapids, also a big friend, as always, to this program. Patrick Quinn joining me right now. Quinny, good evening, and how are you?
I'm pretty good. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
I hear you loud and clear. You're fantastic.
Awesome. Good to know.
Absolutely. So, Quinny, obviously, Colorado at this point in time, looking pretty good, I would say. Obviously a couple results here and there gone their way or not, but still, though, what have you seen in the second season of Chris Armas that makes you feel very happy that the Rapids are on the right track?
I mean, it's been kind of a weird season because kind of our biggest challenge has been shot creation. We don't make a lot of chances, but when we make chances, they seem to end up in the back of the net, and we're doing pretty good on that. But early on in the season, I feel like maybe we were benefiting from, the soccer gods a little bit. And, up until, the Salt Lake game, a couple days ago, after the bad loss against San Jose and a bad loss against San Diego, a lot of people, myself included, were wondering if the sky was falling just because we weren't generating any offense. But, based on the Salt Lake game, our conversion probably could have been a little bit better, but we completely outplayed them, and we probably could have easily won that game by 2 or 3-0.
No, probably so. And so far with Chris Armas, as I said in his second go around, what's been the vibe around the technical area of his? What have you sensed from him? Do you feel he's been frustrated here and there with the recent results, or do you feel he's been, the same way? He's, easy peasy, no worries.
I mean, he's always kind of a fiery guy when he gets, pumped up on stuff and that sort of thing. But, like the biggest thing that I think he's done a great job at since coming on board, he really has changed the culture of the locker room a lot. And it just feels like the team in general kind of has a little bit more drive. They're much more kind of in tune with, the fans and stuff like that. I mean, he makes it a point after every game, win or loss, he comes over with the entire team and they greet the supporters section. And, that never happened before. So, he's really improved that culture, made it much more professional, and, really help build that connection with the supporters.
When you found out that he was being inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame, and of course you probably saw the video of him walking out on the pitch at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, and of course his family was there. Marcelo Balboa was there, Rapids legend. How did you feel seeing him getting that necessary introduction into the Hall of Fame?
I mean, it's a great accomplishment for him, and I mean, he was a big part of that great U.S. national team in the early 2000s that turned a lot of heads and kind of put the whole program on the map. So, no, yeah, it's great for him, and it's this great accomplishment, and we're definitely behind him.
Excellent, excellent, absolutely excellent. Jordy Mihalovic right now, I think he's having a good season at this point in time. 6 goals, 3 assists. I mean, he's been at pretty much uh, on a solid flow this season. I know he got off to a great start in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Got the 2 goals against LAFC in the first leg in the first round before, of course. Um, not in the first round, I think the round of 16. But anyway, he got those 2 big goals against LAFC in the first leg before, of course, unfortunately falling to them in the second leg over at BMO Stadium. How's Jordy been looking for from your point of view?
I mean, he's essentially our offense, like in terms of like making those killer passes or being willing to take shots. I mean, not to, you know, give disservice to Rafa Navajo. He's also an important piece of it, but really, Mihailovic is our talisman. And what this club really needs right now is we need another threat out of the midfield. And I'm not sure where that's going to come from, but right now he's kind of our main pipeline to get the ball down the field. And it's part of the challenge is that teams will, focus on him and shut him down. And then the rest of the squad doesn't really have answers. So, I mean, sometimes he gets pretty frustrated when, the game's not going his way, but then other times he's just on fire and he's just controlling the whole thing.
Mhm. And Cole Bassett at this point in time, I know probably more defensive than offensive, or he's creating at least, or what has he shown you so far this season?
I mean, he's got that bite. He doesn't have the offensive production that he did last year, but Armas has been deploying him in a bit more of a withdrawn position, so he's not getting in those advanced spots as much anymore. He's more hanging back, being kind of the ball winner and making the passes from deeper positions in the midfield rather than almost playing like that second striker or attacking midfielder. But he's still a big part of it, and he's kind of an engine, and he doesn't quit. So we're still pretty behind him as well. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate that he's fallen off because we do need that extra threat out of the midfield, but I feel like he's actually been pretty solid this year, all things considered.
No, that's very good. Very good to hear. I'm happy to hear that. The next player I want to talk about, Rafael Navarro, right now, 5 goals and assist. I mean, that he's looking pretty strong so far. What about Navarro that's made you feel comfortable with him out on the pitch as well?
The biggest thing is the hold up play. I mean, he's strong. And he's not slow either. So he can move around the field really well. He'll fight off defenders. He can free up space for other players. He's definitely a very important component of our offense. And when he and Mihailovic are clicking, we're actually pretty dangerous. But it's been a little bit, you know, it's hard to get them both on the same page sometimes this season. It feels like.
Yeah, really it does. A lot of goalkeepers right now on the roster for the Rapids. Zach Steffen so far, what's he been like, and how's he holding up at this point in time?
He's been great. It's unfortunate that he was injured and was not able to participate in the Rocky Mountain Cup game, but he's kept us in games. He's won us a couple games this year, so he really has kind of picked up where he left off at the tail end of last season, where he was in real good form and making these stops and kind of helping to organize the defense. But yeah, he's also been an important key to keeping us basically in the middle of the pack or even a little bit higher, at least holding on to a playoff position at the moment.
No, that's pretty good so far, and hopefully he'll get back in there and will show a lot of promise towards the middle and the back end of the season so far. Overall, checking up on the Rapids currently in the standings so far in the Western Conference standings. Um, I mean, obviously, it's not where you want to be. Currently in seventh place, you're probably just a point behind both San Jose and Austin in the playoff in the wild card round, but still, though, I mean, you're not too far away from Seattle. Only a point behind, 3 points behind LAFC, and you're 4 points behind Portland in that fourth position. And once again, you know as well as I do, this isn't about how you start in the regular season; it's how you finish.
No, exactly. And, I think we got off to a pretty strong start, but we faded a bit, towards the tail end of April and this first part of May. We drew a few games and had a couple bad losses. And again, a lot of the fans were kind of in the sky is falling mode. But, hopefully this win against Salt Lake this past Saturday is going to kind of help galvanize the team. And, we play St. Louis next, who are, not having a particularly good year. So it's another good test to see if we can capitalize on that and get some of our momentum back. But, I think the big question is, can we get more threat out of our midfield where things aren't just going through Mihailovic? And because I think that's going to be kind of our biggest Achilles heel, is that we don't have a lot of diversity in ways we can go at other teams.
Yeah, that's true too. We'll see what happens there. Other than that, what's been the overall opinion about the club with Kroenke? Of course, he's still owning the Rapids. I mean, is there a point where he might sell the club to someone that's interested in it, whether it be local ownership in Denver or foreign ownership somewhere? I remember you telling me that Dick's Sporting Goods Park was in need of refurbishment in many areas. Has that happened? Has a refurbishment finally come to Dick's Sporting Goods Park?
It has not. I mean, they've done a couple of very small things, I would say, but they're barely noticeable, and he hasn't really done anything with the facilities. I don't think he plans on selling anytime soon either, but what I suspect is probably happening is the Dick's Sporting Goods naming rights for the building run out in a couple years here. So I feel like if he's going to do stadium upgrades, he's going to wait for those naming rights to get renewed, because Lord knows he's not going to pay for it himself. He's going to use somebody else's money to do it. So,
Yeah.
I suspect that's kind of what's going on. But yeah, very small incremental changes, but nothing serious. I mean, the scoreboard is still, it looks like you're staring at an Atari up on the side of the building there. So it's, yeah, there's a lot of things that still need work, but, we'll see what happens.
Scoreboard is still an Atari.
Yep, you can see all the pixels.
Are you telling me we're going to play Space Invaders on that damn thing?
Yeah, or Snake Pit.
Oh, jeez. Duck Hunt. Here we go. Oh, God. Here, pole position. Oh, my goodness. I mean, I try my best not to get involved in stuff like this, but it's just really troublesome when you've got an owner like Kroenke and he's got his LA Rams, he's got his Colorado Avalanche, he's got part ownership of Arsenal. Does he also own the Nuggets too?
He does.
Okay, so he owns the Nuggets, the Avalanche in Denver, and the Rapids. I mean, has there ever been anyone in the Denver area who's a soccer fan that is, at the same level of wealth that he does? Is there anyone in Denver or in the, suburbs of Denver that wants to take over the club and make the necessary changes?
I mean, Phil Anschutz still lives here, but he sold us, so I kind of wish he wouldn't. I wish he would have sold the LA team instead, but here we are. I mean, I know there are some wealthy, extremely wealthy, like billionaires in Colorado. I don't know what their interest level is in soccer, and I don't know if like Penner Group is really that interested. They're the Broncos owners, by the way, but I know part of the Broncos ownership group is participating in the new women's team that's coming to town, but that whole organization by choice has chosen to not deal with Kroenke and the KSE organization at all. So, I mean, that should tell you something. But, Yeah, it's really hard to say because we don't know what, goes on in those circles or anything like that. And we haven't heard any rumors or murmurs or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a shame. Let me ask you this, and last year Colorado Springs Switchbacks, they win the USL Championship title. What was the feeling when you saw that? Was everyone in the state, including in the Denver area, rooting for Colorado Springs to win that championship, or you're like, how is this possible when we should be winning a title? I mean, you did win the MLS Cup many, many years ago, but still, though, for them to win, even I know it's second division and whatever, but still, though, I mean, was there animosity with Colorado Springs, or we were all happy for them?
No, no animosity at all. We were pretty stoked. I mean, in fact, I went to the game, the final.
Oh,
So I actually managed to get tickets for it. So me and a bunch of my C38 buddies went down for that, and we had a pretty good time. But no, we're happy to see some success come to that club. They got a nice little stadium downtown, and they got a good little setup. So yeah, super happy for them actually.
no, that's fantastic to hear. And real quick, just talk about Widener Field because obviously they were originally near the minor league baseball stadium, and then they moved over to being in a good central location in downtown Colorado Springs. I mean, is everyone really excited to watch them play?
Yeah, I think in Colorado Springs they do have a really good footprint there, and they have a good presence. And I mean, it helps having the building down there, but they're pretty well plugged in with some local bars and breweries and stuff down there. And it's got the good proximity to the U.S. Olympic Museum, which is basically a block and a half away, just down the street. And it's got the views of Pikes Peak, and you can't really miss it from the highway. And it's got the really nice sculpture on the corner that makes it pretty distinctive. So, yeah, it's a really nice facility, and they did a great job with it.
No, that's great to hear. I'm very happy to hear that. Other than that, Quinny, once as always, I appreciate you coming on the show. And hopefully next time when you are, let's see a nice picture of you, marching up Main Street, USA in your Disney College program outfit, shall we?
I got to dig back in the archives for that. That was a long time
I
ago.
would love to see it. I love to see it. Hey, just to let everyone know, besides Quinny and me, being, we were introduced to each other during our days at Champion Soccer Radio Network. I found out he actually did the Disney College program. When was that again? Because I know mine was spring of 1993.
I was spring of '07.
So you see, in some ways, we're alumni, but no one knows that until now. Great to see you as always, Quinny. Great to hear from you as well. Talk to you again next time, and be safe over there in Denver, okay?
Yeah, you take care.
I will. Thank you very much. Once again, my Colorado Rapids reporter, Patrick Quinn, joining me as we talk about the Colorado Rapids. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, starting tomorrow night and also this coming Wednesday night, it is another Open Cup night across America. You can watch all the matches, whether it's your own club or if you want to watch every single match that's available on either Paramount Plus through their website or the app. You can also watch selected matches on CBS Sports Golazo Network, and you can watch that free at PlutoTV.com. And of course, CBS Sports Network selected matches. And here it is for tomorrow night and Wednesday night, May the 20th and May the 21st. Here is that schedule right now. Tuesday, May the 20th for the fifth round at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The New England Revolution hosting the Chicago Fire over in Providence. Actually, I think it's either Providence or Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I know it's at a local college, so they're going to be using the local college field for the match between New England and Chicago. And then on that same night, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, San Jose Earthquakes hosting the Portland Timbers, and that will be at PayPal Park. You can watch that streaming on Paramount Plus or on CBS Sports Network. And then on Wednesday, May the 21st, there will be a Golazo show, meaning a U.S. Open Cup whip around show, as we're going to have 5 of the 6 matches on Wednesday, all starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. 6:30 p.m. Central in Minnesota, of course, for those games. And here we go right now. At 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, New York Red Bulls hosting FC Dallas at Sports Illustrated Stadium. You can watch it live digitally, Paramount Plus, or linearly at CBS Sports Network. And then the rest are all on Paramount Plus, as well as the Galazzo Show on CBS Sports Galazzo Network for your whip around show for the Open Cup. The Pennsylvania State Derby. Philadelphia Union hosting the Pittsburgh Riverhounds over at Subaru Park. And then at Audi Field in our nation's capital, DC United hosting Charlotte FC. At Inter & Co Stadium in downtown Orlando City hosting Nashville SC. At Allianz Field, Minnesota United FC hosting St. Louis City SC. And finally at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, it will be at the Q2 Stadium in the the capital city of the state of Texas, Austin FC hosting the Houston Dynamo for that Texas State Derby. The Copa Tejas will be available. And once again, you can watch all of these matches streaming live on Paramount Plus. You can also watch it online at CBS Sports Galazzo Network through PlutoTV.com. Or you can also watch the Galazzo Network on the Paramount Plus website and or app. And of course, linearly on CBS Sports Network. If you are in South Florida, it is channel 144 on BreezeLine. Check your local cable providers and check also your smart TV that if you can download Paramount Plus onto your TV so you don't have to run and go crazy to find the matches. And once again, you can also find it on your smart TVs, PlutoTV.com. You can also come to Beyond the 90 at beyondthe90.substack.com, as I will be covering the Open Cup matches. And at the same time, you'll be also looking at my Open Cup review shows, review videos for days 1 and day 2. It should be exciting. And don't forget, here on the Four Seasons Fire American Soccer Show, there will also be Open Cup review show round 5. As we all know, Memorial Day weekend is coming up this upcoming weekend, so there'll probably be no show on Monday. We'll have that show on Tuesday so that everyone can enjoy the holiday. They don't have to rush back so fast to get on the show. Excuse me about that. And now it's time for the New York Red Bulls review segment of the show, as we go ahead and talk about these past 2 matches involving the Red Bulls on the road at Nashville SC and the Hudson River Derby against New York City FC at Citi Field in Queens, New York, home of the New York Mets. Now, first we're going to go about the match in Nashville. You know, that match in Nashville, I have to say that one was actually a pretty good match. I thought they were doing well. I thought they did okay. Maybe a bit of a slow start, I guess. But you know what? They were ready to go. And honestly, if Wiki Carmona would have pounced on that loose ball that Joe Willis dropped, I thought he was going to bury that chance. I thought he had a quick opportunity to make it 1-0. Unfortunately, it did not happen after Willis dropped the ball. And he just quickly grabbed it before Carmona was able to get his boot on it. And unfortunately, that's what happened. And anyway, and there it is right there. I thought originally the Patrick Yazbek, the way he smashed it, I thought it hit the post and out, but it did not. It just was so hard and so fast. The ball just hit the back of the net and zipped out really fast. The way he shot it and the way it came out, I'll be honest, I didn't think it went in. I really didn't think it went in. I thought that it hit the post and out and everyone's celebrating a goal for no reason. But then he's celebrating and no offside flag, because there was no offside in that whole play anyway. And Patrick Yazbek, hell of a shot. First MLS goal in his career, and good for him and everything. And, well, you know, we'll see more from him with Nashville. But I will say this though, no, he looked pretty good in that goal, and I really thought the Red Bulls did play well. But once again, individual mistakes caused these turnovers to start, and Nashville was able to take advantage. Now, great goal from Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting in the 56th minute. He gets to perfect position down the near side. Cameron Harper gets the loose ball. Now, the pass originally by Wiki Carmona was a bit off. I don't think anyone was expecting him to go across the pitch to the far side. But great opportunity for Cameron Harper to take that ball, going down the far side, and then makes that nice cross, well-weighted pass in the air, and Choupo-Moting finds a way to not only get his head on the ball, but he finds a way to curl that ball off his head and beats Joe Willis inside the far post to make it 1-1. And you're thinking everything's fine, everything's good, but then unfortunately, in the 63rd minute, Hani Mukhtar finally scores. I think that's his second goal against the New York Red Bulls, because I think he only scored once. And I think that was during their inaugural season, and found a way to get an equalizer when they were playing at Nissan Stadium, where the Tennessee Titans are playing. So, unfortunately, for Nashville, they got, I shouldn't say, excuse me, unfortunately for the Red Bulls, Hani Mukhtar scores, makes it 2-1. As Red Bulls try to get that second goal, to equalize again, they just couldn't do it, unfortunately. They just couldn't do it, and they fall in Nashville 2-1 after scoring 7 and not allowing a single goal towards the LA Galaxy. And then Omar Valencia, as you saw, got a yellow card in the 36th minute. And apparently, I think that's his 5th or 6th yellow card this season. So he was suspended for Saturday's match against NYCFC in the Hudson River Derby, which meant Raheem Edwards would take over his spot for that match. So I expect him to be in the starting 11 against FC Dallas and in the Open Cup this upcoming Wednesday. So that's going to be interesting, and that's going to be fun to see. Now, their next match, the Hudson River Derby, on a Saturday, and honestly, it just was not a good one. As you can see, most of the yellow cards on the Red Bull side. Noah Ayla will be suspended for the road match next Saturday at DC United. So either Ayla will either play as a starter, or maybe he'll come in as a substitute. But obviously, I think he'll be playing. I'm assuming he'll be playing one of the two center backs for the Open Cup match, which means either Alexander Hack or Tim Parker will be with him in, not in, but as a center back pairing on that back line. This was a terrible match. Even though they only gave up 2 goals, once again, poor decision making and poor defending led to these goals being scored. Alonso Martinez got the room, and he just smashed it from about 25 yards out, beating Carlos Coronel to the upper far 90 and inside that corner. Great goal. There's nothing you can say about it. Nothing you can say about it. They just gave him too much space to have the time to just say, he's just gonna take a rip, and he did, and he beat Coronel handedly, and that was in the 13th minute. Maxi Morales, once again, as great of a season so far as Carlos Coronel has had, the truth of the matter is this: he has put himself into no man's land at the wrong time. When he's trying to either play the ball, or when he's controlling the ball and trying to kick it, that was terrible. He miskicked the ball, gave it to, I believe he gave it to Alonso Martinez. And then he had a little mess around with Sean Nealis, Felipe Carballo, and then he found Maxi Morales wide open net, scored 2-0 in the 50th minute. And the Red Bulls, even though they did try to pull one back, it just tried to break up the clean sheet. It just couldn't happen. And the truth is that I don't want to, I don't want to cause any alarm here. And maybe this is something that, I don't know. This has the feeling of 2008 all over again. And I'll tell you why. See, with the New York Red Bulls in 2008, they were being managed by Juan Carlos Osorio. He would have two different formations, one at Giant Stadium and the other one was on the road. It would be a 4-4-2 at home. But then when they're on the road, it became a 4-5-1. One lone striker, which was Juan Pablo Angel. And even though they went to the MLS Cup final that year, they barely won a game on the road. They either had a loss or a draw. I think they had maybe one or two wins on the road. I have to double check that. I could be wrong, but I remember that season. They were always dominated. They were always dominant at home at Giant Stadium. They felt they could never lose at home, and they've actually done great things that year. And that's the year they won the Western Conference Championship when they beat Real Salt Lake by 1-0, when the wild cards were allowed to go to either you stay in the East or you can go to the West if the wild card teams are from the same conference. One would stay in the East, the other one would go to the West. And while the Red Bulls have been very good at home, 5 wins, a draw, and a loss at home, I really don't want them to play like this. They need results on the road. They should have beaten DC United at home, but they didn't. But once again, before we even talk about going to DC on the road at Audi Field, because they're terrible as well. But they need to win away matches. They have to win away matches, without a doubt. They have to. They must. It has to be. It has to be that, because right now they are out of a playoff spot, and they're only a point behind both Charlotte and Chicago. But I will say this. The first most important match for the Red Bulls is playing FC Dallas at Sports Illustrated Stadium. Please go to Red Bull Arena. You want to watch a cup run? Go and watch a cup run when the New York Red Bulls are in the U.S. Open Cup, 5th round proper, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, if you can't get to Sports Illustrated Stadium, you can watch it at home on CBS Sports Network. You can also watch it online, live, digitally on Paramount Plus. So this is an important match. And then after this 5th round matchup, I believe they'll go straight to the quarterfinal draw. And then the quarterfinals will be in July. And then after July, they will move on to the if they do advance out of the 5th round, they go to the quarterfinals. If they do advance out of the quarterfinals, semifinals will be in September, and the final will be in October. But it's very important for the Red Bulls. Any and every cup is important. They did well against Colorado Springs on the road. Now it's time for them to do well against FC Dallas. And I think the last time they played Dallas, which was then known as the Dallas Burn, the 1997 semifinal. And that was played at the soccer stadium. No, I don't think they had the soccer stadium. I think it was on the college football stadium at Columbia University. And I believe they lost that one by 1-0 in 1997, because that year, the Dallas, when they were known as the Dallas Burn, they went to the final against DC United over in at the Mike in Indianapolis, Indiana, IUPUI Mike Carroll Track and Field Stadium. So this is important. This is for the first time gaining revenge on Dallas. It's been a very, very long time, but it's time to get the revenge for 1997, when they were known back then as the New York, New Jersey Metro Stars. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens over there, and it's just crazy. And El Trafico at Dignity Health Sports Park ends in a 2-2 draw, but that also means for the Galaxy, no wins in 14 matches. I don't know if that's a record right now, but at the moment, I think it is. But we'll double check that somewhere down the road. But we'll have to wait and see what the situation will be, and hopefully everything will be right as rain. We'll see what happens. But other than that, some exciting news to tell you. I'm going to be hosting in June, 2 days in June. We're going to have World Cup qualifying preview show, and then that'll be on Monday, June the 2nd. Then on Tuesday, June the 3rd, a regular show will actually be the CONCACAF Champions Cup final review show. I'm going to try and get on, obviously, Michael McCall from Away from the Numbers, who's covering the Vancouver Whitecaps, and of course, hopefully bring back John Jagu on to talk about Liga MX clubs. And we all know be Cruz Azul hosting the Vancouver Whitecaps, and the Whitecaps, unfortunately, were losing Sebastian Berhalter due to yellow card accumulation. So he'll be suspended for the final, unfortunately. Don't forget, the final is no longer a two-legged affair. It is a one-match final, a standalone final match. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see what's going to be over there. But other than that, I want to thank my guests tonight. I want to thank Favian Renkel of SBI Soccer. I also want to thank my good friend Patrick Quinn, covering the Colorado Rapids for me. My name is Daniel Feuerstein. Join me next week. Once again, we're going to review the 5th round of the U.S. Open Cup, and I will check on on the MLS schedule to see if we can get a show. If not this coming Monday, because it is Memorial Day weekend, and I want everyone to enjoy the weekend. Try and make the show on a Wednesday, and if not, I'll probably maybe make it during the day, and I'll probably try and get a good guest on. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen there. Other than that, once again, my name is Daniel Feuerstein. Thank you very much for watching me tonight. And as always, please, please, please enjoy your football. Thank you. Have a good night. Take care. So long. Bye-bye for now. Have a good night, everybody.